Welcome to Natural Habitat Adventures Daily Dose of Nature. I'm your host, Brooke Mitchell, and today's webinar is Photo Tips for Capturing Mexico's Monarchs, presented by NatHab Expedition Leader and Pro Photographer Eric Ramirez. Thank you so much for being here today, Eric. Over to you.
Thank you so much for that incredible presentation, Brooke. So again, my name is Eric Ramirez, and today's topic is photo tips for capturing Mexico's monarchs. I'm very happy to be here. And before I started, I need to say that part of our core ideologies in the company is this: have fun, take your work very seriously, and yourself not too seriously. I like to follow this core as much as possible because seriously, our job is just very important for the company, but also I like to have a lot of fun in it. And I like to make fun with my co-guides. I like to also exchange a lot of experiences with our guests. So I think these pictures would show you how much fun do I have when I go to guide some trips in Mexico. So a little bit of myself. I'm a marine biologist. That's my formation. I studied in La Paz when I was 18. I studied sharks, genetics, and other kind of stuff. But then I started to work in a lab for 2 years and a half, but that did not please me at all. So that's why I moved towards tourism, because I found in this place a great place to share my knowledge, share my enthusiasm, and my curiosity. So I've been guiding NatHab expedition trips since 5 years ago. Well, this is going to be my fifth season, and 3 years guiding photo expedition trips. Before I continue, I need to tell you that my father is a photographer, and probably he's listening to this conversation, this webinar right now. My sister also is a photographer, and I'm a photographer too now. But before, I was more into just get immersed into the place, just see everything that's around me. But now I'm more into capturing the moment, because with many experiences, I realized that I don't have a lot of memory to keep those memories in my head. So that means that if I take a picture when I'm traveling, that picture will stay forever. And this is something I've been doing since 3 years ago. I started with very basic equipment, and little by little, I'm getting better equipment in order to perfect my technique. And yeah, this is part of my some of pictures that I've taken, that I took. I love wildlife photography a lot. I love birds, I love mammals, I love landscapes too. And right now I'm switching a little bit to sports photography. I like sports a lot, and I think when I'm taking people running, people doing triathlons, just it's just impressive how much can I get from these pictures. And that those pictures are transmitting to me a lot of energy, positivity, a lot of power. And yeah, I also like a little bit of street photography, and I try to diversify my skills. So topics to discuss today: we're going to talk about life history of monarchs very briefly. This is not a webinar about monarch butterfly biology and conservation. Nevertheless, we need to know about monarch butterflies in order to understand where we are going to photograph in Mexico. Overview of the itinerary very briefly: what to pack, how to get prepared for the adventure, best tips to photograph monarchs, use of phones, and at the end, bonus tips. So quick biological context: monarch butterflies are insects that have this beautiful coloration, orange, black, and white. They're telling other predators that they are poisonous. So monarch butterflies also have a very complex life cycle. They follow metamorphosis-like cycle. That means that they have different stages. The first stage is egg, second caterpillar, third is the chrysalis, and the fourth is the adult stage. Adults can live between 2 and 6 weeks, depending on the weather conditions, especially the temperature. And monarchs live in different continents, in different countries, but the monarch butterfly population that we care the most here in North America is the North American population. We have two: the Western population and the Eastern population. So the Western, during the fall, when the temperature decreases, and also when the day length decreases too, that's the signal that they must move southward. Where? To Mexico. Why? Because the conditions in Canada are pretty harsh for them. So they're all going to travel down around 3,000 miles. In average, they travel every single day between 50 and 70 miles. That's a lot. They pass the border, they check the passport, and they arrive finally to the center of Mexico, the highlands of Mexico, where the temperature is perfect for them. So here, the adults, the monarch butterflies actually will live up 8 months. Remember that I told you that they normally live between 2 and 6 weeks. The reason why they live that long is because the temperature keeps their metabolism very low. They will not develop the sexual organs. That means that they will remain as juveniles for the next 5-6 months. Once the temperature rises during the early spring, they will produce the sexual organs, they will mate, and they will start to head back to the north. Okay, so as soon as they reach Canada, this entire process takes around 5 generations. Okay, so this is the plan that we have here in Natural Habitat Adventures, the Monarch Butterfly trip. It's a 6-trip day, and we start here in Mexico City, and we take a bus and we go to Michoacan State, where we're gonna stay 2 nights in Angangueo, and then a third night in Jungapeo, and then the next day we'll head back to Mexico City, where we're gonna spend the night. And then the next day it's all over. Okay. So monarch butterfly sanctuaries. The sanctuaries are the places where the monarch butterflies overwinter at. So here we'll visit 2 different sanctuaries, Sierra Chincua and El Rosario. Day 2, we'll take the bus all the way to Engangueo. We'll take an open bed truck, and then we will get to El Rosario Sanctuary. Day 2, and we're gonna reach the colonies around 3 p.m. just to let you know what kind of light do we expect to see. And then the third day, we'll go to Sierra Chincua early morning. We're expecting to be at the colonies around 10:30 a.m. And the fourth day, we'll do the same, but this time we'll go to El Rosario. Okay, so we have 3 visitings in during this trip. Okay, ways of transportation: we take buses. With one big bus, we take horses and open bed trucks. This is overall how does it look like when we are going to the colonies. First, we arrive to the sanctuaries, and then we have to take the horses, and then we have to hike in order to get to the colonies. Did you see that people are using their cameras, or they having the cameras on their neck? No. The reason is because the road is pretty steep up or steep down. That means that it's not giving you any chance to manipulate your camera. That's why we normally say, please don't unpack your camera when we arrive to the sanctuary, doing it once we arrive to the colonies. So speaking about your cameras, what should I pack if I want to come to Mexico to photograph the monarch butterflies? Phones, we all have phones, iPhones, Samsung, whatever. Super zoom bridge cameras, I did not see this before, but a lot of our guests are using them because they are kind of lightweight. They have a big lens integrated to the body. That means that you cannot exchange any lens, but they have pretty good zoom. To be honest, it is a really good camera for the price. You don't expect to have super incredible professional pictures, but it is a really good camera if you don't want to carry like big lenses. So also you can bring your DSLR cameras or mirrorless. In my case, I used to have DSLR camera. Now I have my Sony mirrorless camera. This for me works fantastic. What kind of lenses? So I'm just putting the example of Sony because I use Sony, but you can also do it with Canon, with Nikon. There's so many different brands. But this is 2 of the lenses that you must bring. Yeah, these are the staples. So one between 25 and 70 millimeters, f 2.0 or 4 or 1.8, that'll be even incredible to get more light into your sensor. And telephoto could be 70 200 millimeters, f 2.8 or f 4.8, or this one is 100 millimeter, 400 millimeters. This both worked fantastic for the monarchs. And the reason why we include a telephoto is because normally when we arrive to the colony, we cannot get in like underneath the places where the monarch butterflies are overwintering. The reason is because the locals are protecting the monarch butterflies. We don't want to disturb them. That's why sometimes, for example, the fence that they build with a rope is pretty much far from the bark of the trees, from the trees where the monarch butterflies are clustering. So that's why when if we have a telephoto, we can have access to those clusters too. That's great. That's why I encourage you to bring these two type of lenses. Um, a good backpack with a rain cover, cleaning kit. This is a staple too. Please bring it, and I will tell you why it's important to bring it. Monopod only if it's lightweight, because as soon as we arrive to the entrance of the colonies, sometimes we need to hike up a little bit further. We don't know how much because the monarch butterflies are moving constantly throughout the season. Okay, so monopods work fantastic. So this is pretty much what I have in my backpack. So I have a Sony Alpha 3 camera body, and I take with me two different lenses, a 28 millimeters, 70 millimeters f3.5, and a telephoto Sony 200 millimeters, 600 millimeters f5.6. I like this a lot because I can take pretty nice pictures when the light is really good. I have a lot of troubles when it's pretty cloud inside of the colonies. The sunlight is not the light is not penetrating really good, but I have to do my adjustment in order to get well exposed pictures. What are my others? Memory cards, staples too, GoPro Hero, iPhone 13, cleaning kit, extra camera lens caps, because I see people dropping this lens caps very often. And you don't want to, if you already invested a lot of money in your camera, you don't want to have scratches on your lens. So it's important to always have one or two extras. Fast fire camera strap. I prefer this one because when I'm walking, for example, and I see something that I want to shoot, I have quick access to my strap and I can take nice pictures immediately. This works for me pretty well. So getting ready for that venture. Remember that I told you to bring a cleaning kit? It is just really paramount that we clean our sensors and we clean our lenses before to use them. Seriously, this is really, really, really important, and do it in a proper way, not to damage our sensor. Uh, this could save a lot of time, especially if you because normally we don't do this, and we're exchanging our lenses in these places with a lot of dirt and a lot of dust. Maybe some of these particles would get inside to our sensor or our lenses, and we're just shooting pictures. And then we want to when we go to our computer, all of a sudden, there are so many different black dots in our pictures, and we have to like take them away manually. And this is just a pain in the butt. So it's better if we clean this before. Check your camera, bring extra batteries, just double check that you have all equipment that you need, bring enough SD cards. This is optional, but seriously, I encourage you to do it. Set the camera to take no pictures without a memory card inside. That happened to a guest last trip. She was shooting one day, bam, 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 and pictures and pictures and pictures. And then once she arrived to her room, she said, Eric, there was not SD card in my camera. Boom. She was very sad. So I took this experience to transmit you this incredible tip. What to expect once we arrive to the colonies? To expect to a cold environment, clouds, warm, sunlight, rain. So it varies a lot throughout the season. But this is the two most common scenarios that we can get when we arrive to the colonies. We could have a very cold day with lots of clouds, not so much light penetrating the forest. Um, this is interesting because monarch butterflies won't get active if the temperature is below 55 Fahrenheit. If it's above this temperature, they will become more active, they will start to move around, and they will go to over different places in order to take, especially flowers, to take a sip of nectar, but and also to take a sip of water on some water pots on the ground. So in the ground. So this is something that we can get throughout the season. Sunny days, a lot of light, or cloudy days with not so much light. Okay, so starting with this, um, some of these pictures I took them one of my first trips as a photographer. Some of them they have a lot of mistakes that I've been correcting since then. So just this is just my style. I like to take pictures a little bit underexposed because what I try to convey to my people is just regarding to my object. In this case, for example, I this is in the middle. This is actually a bark of a tree, of course, and all these little things that you see are not dead leaves. Those are monarch butterflies. We are just in front of probably thousands, hundreds of thousands of monarch butterflies. And for me, this picture, for example, has a great composition because it has a lot of texture. Has a lot of texture, and I like that the tree is in focus, and the back it is not. Okay, so once I arrive to a place, before I start shooting, this is something that I forgot to mention. I like to evaluate my scene. I like to look around. I don't want to just arrive and start shooting before I realize with which elements do I come with. So it's interesting because I like to just explore a little bit, see the colors, see the different the potential subjects that I can shoot, and then only then I start shooting. So for example, in this case, I took the picture of this tree, but then I say, what if I change my vantage point? Do I see something different? Yes. So I saw the side part of the bark, and I realized that there was some moss, some lichen in between. I got a little bit closer, and you can see the contrast between the wings of the monarch butterfly with the bark. So I said, okay, I like this, but I'm not 100% satisfied. So I moved to the other side where the branch was bended down, and then I realized that I love this picture a lot because here I left I left some empty space. Here have some negative space, and on my left side I have a lot of texture. And then I was waiting for a couple minutes to see a monarch butterfly perch here, right here on top of my of the branch, and that did not happen. But anyway, I love the composition, I love the picture too, and this is something that I want to encourage you to do, to just move around. Don't stay in the same place shooting the same thing, because I like to say I cannot expect different results if I repeating the formula over and over again. I love again this picture because I got closer and I just shoot directly into the bark of the tree. I see more and more texture. I see more patterns. I like to remember that when you're shooting in manual, you have the triangle exposure. You have three elements that you have to keep care of. You have to keep care of aperture, shutter speed, and ISO. So ISO in this case, aperture, for example, I tried to put the lowest number that I could get with my lens, which was 5.6, which is not a lot, in order to get my background blurred because I had a shallow depth of field. If I would have increased that, that means that I will not get enough light towards my sensor. Everything will be underexposed, and but I will not have my background blurred. Okay, so shutter speed in this case, I did not have to put a very low shutter speed because there was not so much movement happening right now in that picture. So yes, we need to balance. We need to work with these three different elements in order to get a well exposed picture. This picture was taken actually the same day. We had a little bit of light hitting straight to this cluster of monarch butterflies, and I love this because in the moment that the monarch butterflies sensed the light hitting their bodies, they start to open up like flowers, revealing this beautiful color. And I was like, this is the moment. This is the perfect moment to take a nice picture because I'll get a beautiful contrast between the pallid colors of the closed monarch butterflies and the orange colors that are gonna draw my attention immediately, and that's what happened. I still like to have these dark areas. I know that they're underexposed, but that's the thing that I want to convey to people. Monarchs, they're here to rest, and if I change my settings in order to have more everything more brighter, I think like my idea will not be conveyed in this way. That will be something different. That's why I underexpose this picture. That picture also was taken that day. We had more and more light, more and more light. And this is interesting because when the monarch butterflies have are heated by a lot of light, all the atmosphere gets more warm and they become more active, and they could start to leave the cluster in small, like little by little, small groups, or sometimes they burst off like thousands of them at the same time. So in this case, it was very like it was not really like the temperature was not proper, was not constant. It was like going up and down, up and down. So all the monarch butterflies who left the cluster, they were heading back, and I was thinking, I want to freeze the moment once the monarch butterfly is getting back to the cluster. So this is interesting because this is part of observation. Once you check what is happening in your surroundings, you can anticipate what is going to happen. It's like, for example, if you're taking pictures of birds, especially vireos or warblers. Those animals are moving constantly. It's almost impossible to get a really nice picture because they're moving from one branch to the other, from one branch to the other. You need to anticipate where the bird is going to land before you take the picture. In this case, I froze I freeze the picture with a high fast shutter speed, and also I like to, my aperture was really low in order to get more light, in order to get this in focus, to have a blurred background. And this is what I got. And I think it's just fantastic to see how this butterfly is landing directly to the colony. So another picture that I love, that I did not intend to take this, because sometimes when you're taking pictures, you're not thinking that these pictures will have a lot of potential once you are post processing them. So this picture, I was like, wow, it's just perfect because it adds a lot of contrast between the green colors, between the orange, because one color, the orange, is a warm color, and it transmits a lot of energy, a lot of happiness, a lot of very warm emotions. But the green is a cool color. The green one is more associated to calmness, serenity. So it was a perfect combination. You see also the differences between the textures as well, between the leaves of the tree and the body of the monarch butterfly. And I love this picture too because part of the monarch butterfly um, wing is missing. So this is just like, for me, a revelation, because this represents the entire population, the millions of monarch butterflies will travel to Mexico. They might not going to make it, some of them. Once they arrive, they might get attacked by other birds. They might die due to natural causes, colds or predators, but they will survive, some of them, and some of them will continue. They were preparing this species for the next generation. So this is just fantastic how you can convey something incredible with this picture. Again, we have a combination of the orange and green. This is the tried and true. I love this picture. Actually, this picture was in the was shown in the what is it, in the catalog of the last year. I was very happy, very glad that my picture was showed there. And yeah, this is just simple monarch butterfly perching on a plant. Yeah. Ah, I really love this picture because there was a lot of movement, but unfortunately there was a branch blocking my side. I love this picture. Don't make me wrong, but I just don't want to use. I won't use it in a photo contest because, yeah, this black thing is just drawing my attention immediately. I did not see the monarch butterflies immediately. I saw this, and it is a well composed picture. I used my telephoto. My shutter speed was 5,000th of a second. Aperture, one of the lowest, 6.3. ISO, I had a really high ISO, but my camera can hold this ISO. I had no problem. Uh, I could have done different. Yes, I could have reduced my shutter speed in order also to reduce my ISO. Yes, but yeah, I mean, just I did what I can, and I love the picture. But yeah, this is the example of sometimes, no matter how much you move to different places, you might not get what you want. This is a picture that I love the most. I have it here on my back and on my wall, because I changed my. I was just getting out of my comfortable zone. I was always shooting like on my feet, just going up and down, up and down. But this time, when I saw the monarch butterfly sip in the water on the button, I said, let's just change the game. And I lay down on the floor, and then the magic just occurred. These are my settings that I use. I focal length almost 600 millimeters, shutter speed 4,000 of second, aperture of f22, and ISO 12,800. That's a very high ISO. I did not get a lot of noise, because normally when you have super high ISO numbers, you start to get noise or green, or a lot of grain on your pictures. My camera was completely all right, and if something like this happened in your pictures, you can correct this most of the time in post editing. Of course, you want to spend less time processing your pictures, of course. So I recommend you to always set the best settings when you're taking pictures, because it takes less time to correct our mistakes that we could have avoided in on the field. So I love this picture because you see some of the monarch butterflies landing to take a sip of water. You see a lot of texture too. You see a lot of contrast, a lot of colors too. This is just a great picture. This might be a very simple picture, because normally when it gets warm, as I said before, the monarch butterflies may become more active. And when I took this picture, I didn't realize that there was another monarch butterfly passing behind. So when I saw the result, I was like, wow, this is just great. And I imagined myself taking this picture just maybe half a second after. Could you imagine like the monarch butterfly closer to the other one? It could have added so much a texture and also a great effect. But I saw this and I said, I love it. This is just incredible. So take your time when you're shooting monarch butterflies, because they're when they're active, they're moving constantly from one plant to another, especially because they're trying to get a sip of nectar. So yes, this is another picture that I love the most. And then this is something that I was expecting to get once in my life, because I've seen other photographers taking these pictures, and I was like, I want to do this. So this is what happens when the clusters get really warm. All of a sudden, the monarch butterflies start to fly around. They just burst off immediately, and you see like a cascade effect, and they're all flying around. Before I took this picture, I was trying to take a very nice shot with my telephoto, but to be honest, I said this is not the right focal length, because I was just framing a very small portion. I said no, I need to have a wider lens. That's why I swapped to my 2470 millimeter lens, and I use these settings. I mean, it's not super. My shutter speed is not super fast, but it's enough fast to freeze the moment. And then I try to also my aperture change it to f20 in order to get more on focus. And my ISO was 2000. It was completely fine, no problem. And I took this incredible picture. I highly recommend you to try it if with the perfect conditions. If you're there, just look around. I'm very aware about the clusters. When I see a little bit of movement, I tell my guests in 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, just keep your key cameras pointing this area because they will burst off just in a blink. Yeah. So I call this picture the three little sisters, although the one on the top is not actually a female, is a male. um, when I started to take pictures, one of my co-expedition leaders told me, if you want to get a very nice um, picture in nature with this like studio effect, try to focus in your background. Try to get a very dark background in order to get to just enhance the colors of your object, enhance the object by itself, to get a really nice picture. And I followed his advice, and this is what I got. I really like this picture a lot. It's well exposed. I like that I have different levels too, and this is just a simple, well composed picture too. Again, this is under different conditions, but again, I try to take the same picture that I took on the ground. This time, I try to also set my settings correctly as well. I increase my shutter speed. I decrease my ISO and my aperture. Also, I try to put it in the lowest number that I could. Another picture that I liked a lot because of the things that is transmitted to me is this one. Um, Seeing one monarch butterfly on top and seeing the other ones dead is just an example of how nature could be savage, but also could be a brat, because we wish all the animals survive, but unfortunately that's something that not happen very often, and some of them they have to die. But at the end, this one was just arising on top of the rocks, just to be the spear, the point of the spear of the whole population. I don't know, sometimes I get really like really romantic when I see these pictures. But the shutter speed was really fast because when the monarch butterflies are on the ground, they are normally flip their wings super fast in order to get super warm as fast as possible in order to reach back the colony. That's why I had to put a very fast shutter speed in order to freeze the moment. Otherwise, the wings will would have been blurred. Rule of thirds, we have seen in photography, this is part of the theoretical part of photography, that if we divide our picture in with two vertical lines and two horizontal lines, we have uh, different 9 different squares. So according to this theory, you have to place your object in the intersection of this in the intersection in order to make your picture more appeal, more subtle, more relaxed and beautiful. And this is something that I did. Also, I took this picture a little bit down in order to see like the monarch butterfly more in a bigger way. So I know that this picture looks underexposed, and it is underexposed, but it's something that I want to tell you. Play with your camera. Play with your camera, overexpose, underexpose your pictures in order to see if you can get some beautiful products. And for me, that was very important because I said, behind my monarch butterfly, there's a lot of things happening. But I just want to take this beautiful monarch butterfly. I like to just barely see the colors. I like to make it more mysterious, and this is something that I did. Yeah, and yeah, normally they say all the time, you need to proper expose your pictures, but don't be afraid to underexpose or overexpose the pictures. What is the worst thing that could happen? That you get a bad picture, and that's it. Nothing else happened. Or you can get a nice product like this. So I did not focus this picture on purpose because I was behind all these different branches. The light is in front of me. It was hidden the monarch butterflies. I did not have the access to be in the other side. So I said, what can I do here? And I took this picture with all the monarch butterflies on out of focus, but also what I wanted to convey is that these monarch butterflies look like golden flakes. Like if someone like divine entities dropping all these golden flakes from the sky so humans can enjoy this beautiful moment. So that's why I did it in this way. I mean, I was just experimenting with different with my elements that I had. Uh, Another thing that I like to do very often, I like to walk around. I like to see my guests interacting with my co-guides in this case, or sometimes I see my guests talking with the locals, and this is just incredible because there's a lot of cultural exchange in this place. And then when I saw this picture, I was like, I see something behind the conversation. There's a monarch butterfly over there, and I said, I'm going to frame the monarch butterfly with my guide, my co-guide, and my guests. But normally, for example, something I didn't tell you is that I normally shoot monarch butterflies with autofocus continuous in Sony. In Canon is AI servo, but this is great because you can follow the monarch butterfly if it's flying. You can follow different organisms depending of your focus settings. But this time, for example, I said I have enough time. My object is not moving that much. I can switch to manual because I want to focus my monarch butterfly. So in this case, I tried to do it, but unfortunately the monarch was moving constantly, and then there was not so much space on the right to stand, and then I just missed my chance. But with this, I wanted to show you this picture just to let you know that there are so many things around us. We just need to open our eyes and be very, very flexible in order to get these pictures. Don't get afraid to compose your own pictures. Um, this picture was not taken by me. It was taken by Kurt Whelan. He's an amazing expedition leader, an amazing photographer, and he took this picture with a wide angle lens. I don't have a good wide angle lens. I This is my project for the next season. I really want to get one because I want to get more things in focus. I want to get, especially in these moments which they are unique, where you can see more monarch butterflies in the sky, and of course the sky is blue and the monarchs are orange, and then you have the green colors of the leaves. It's a perfect balance, a perfect contrast, and yeah, this is something that I would love to do next trip, and I encourage you to also um, don't look to the pretty obvious things. There are many things that are happening. Try to just uh, move to different places, change vantage points in order to get different pictures. Again, this is another picture from Kurt Whelan, and I love it a lot because this is Angangeo. And I guess, I'm not sure, he was playing a little bit with the white balance. Normally the white balance, it's a feature that, well, it's a thing that your camera is just, it's aiming to see in your picture the real white. Okay, and normally when we always use automatic, it's just set by the camera, and normally it goes fantastic, but it's kind of boring sometimes. So if you want to add a little bit of more punch to your picture, you can play with different settings. You can play with daylight, with cloudy, with flash, and you will add more blue light to your picture or more yellow light. In this case, he might add it a little bit more of yellow light, given this, this atmosphere of old Mexico from the 80s, which I love a lot. I'm speaking about Kurt and other photographers. This is the photography team, and Kurt is the guy in the upper right side of the presentation. He is a very amazing photographer. He normally guides in Madagascar, Iceland, polar bears, in Mexico, the monarch butterflies and other trips. He's always willing to share a lot of his information. Then we have on the left side Paulo. Paulo, he's one of my best friends in Mexico. He is an amazing expedition leader. He's very technical. He remembers every single detail. He's always willing to help our guests, and he's really good in post processing pictures in Lightroom. He's an expert. And then we have Fernando. Fernando, he has 20 years guiding monarch butterflies in Mexico. You won't see many of these pictures during the trip because he's more busy helping guests than taking pictures. He's just answering all of their questions. He just basically telling them where to shoot because he is a person who wants to help a lot and he has a lot of information too. Bonus trip tips. So for me, just press the short button as many times as possible. That sounds pretty obvious, of course, but sometimes we are a little bit shy and we don't shoot as much as I wish. So yeah, you know, take a lot of pictures, but this is just my recommendation. Don't go over any single picture because we spent a lot of time and sometimes we get very critical with our job. Just shoot 5 or 10 pictures, go over the pictures, see if they're well composed, if they are getting your idea of a well exposed, and just go over the pictures and see if they're getting the idea that you want for the great composition. And if you need to change something, change the settings, but keep shooting and don't stop. Okay, so but this might sound a little bit contradictory with what just I said, but life is not about a constant material collection of experiences. Also, it's about being present. It's very hard to be present. I understand, especially if you have this mindset, this idea that I want to I want to get as many pictures as possible because I got a lot of inspiration from these expedition leaders or from these Nat Geo photographers, and I saw many pictures in the website, and I want to get these pictures. Yes, but sometimes we forget the most important thing. This might not happen twice in a life. So I love these pictures because I like to navigate between my guests in order to shoot this precise moment when they are looking authentic. They're not posing. I don't like when people are posing for pictures. This doesn't look natural. I like when they are enjoying the moment in their way. And yeah, take your time. What I like to do when I finish my job, when I finish what I'm doing, I like to breathe in, breathe out many times, as many as possible. I like to close my eyes. I like to imagine myself getting like very, very like inside a colony, and this is just like just boost my life, boost my soul, boost my energy, especially in those days where I'm tired or yeah, it was a long day. I just like yeah, recharge my batteries doing this. I like to feel the ground and then I continue. So I took this picture last year as well, and I love it a lot because although the monarch butterflies are not on are not are blurred and they're not on focus, in focus, it's okay. What I want to convey is that this was the farewell. This was the last day of the trip. Well, not the last day of the trip, the last day of our visiting in the sanctuaries. And I love because the monarch butterflies, they were escorting us to the exit. So this was just a very magical moment. And I said, our job is done for now. So this is a great dilemma because shooting auto or versus manual, a lot of good photographers, like just in my opinion, a lot of photographers will tell you if you want to consider yourself as a great photographer, don't shoot in auto, always manual. And really good photographers, experienced photographers, they will say shooting auto is completely fine. When I was starting into photography 2 years ago, but no, 3 years ago, we went to Indonesia with my wife, and I got this Canon Rebel 3, very like yeah, good camera, just yeah, just like that. And I said, I'm gonna shoot manual. I'm gonna shoot manual all the time. And my wife was telling me, no, hey, you should take the pictures in auto. It's okay. And I said no because I felt I was already a photographer, and I said no, I need to do it manual. So this is one of the two endemic species of birds of paradise in the island of Waieo, in nearby Papua New Guinea. And this is a red bird of paradise. And I said, I want to take this incredible picture of a red bird of paradise. So that was my expectation. And you know what I what I got? This. This was a reality. Nothing. My bird wasn't in focus because the conditions were terrible. It was raining. Um, my lens got a lot of fog. I was navigating through my ISO shutter speed, uh, aperture without understanding anything. And instead of just shooting auto, I was too proud to continue with manual, and did not get anything. So this is just an advice for you. If you don't feel comfortable with your camera because you're starting, or somehow you have a like a mental block, it's okay to go back to auto. It's completely fine. You might not get a very artistic picture, but at least you will get a well exposed picture, which is what we always want. Yeah. So another question is, are phones useful? Yes, they're very, very, very useful. Especially, for example, when you finish photographing what you wanted, and then you just you just exchange your lens, and then you pack everything inside of your backpack, and then all of a sudden, one beautiful monarch butterfly purchase on top of a guest or expedition leader, and it's like, oh, I don't want to take out my camera. So in this case, it's very handy just to take out your phone and just shoot, and that's it. Our phones, especially iPhones, they have great settings. They take really nice picture. And on our left picture, we have Daniel. He's another expedition leader. He is manipulating a sporting scope. We bring a sporting scope, and this is really great to take good pictures with our phones. We can have access to the colonies, and this is just great if we also use our phones, especially under these conditions. They have our phones. They have sometimes 3 cameras, 4 cameras, 5 cameras. They have wide angle lens. They have telephoto. So just explore your phones. And our video is awesome, phone or with camera. So that was 4 years ago. I took this video slow motion with my old iPhone. I'm in social media and Instagram. I had 600 followers before I posted this video. After this video, I got 8,000 followers, and something I didn't expect, to be honest. And this video has more than 15 million views. So yes, use your phones. You don't have to always use your camera. So you can have a different perspective, different type of videos, different type of well exposed pictures too. So yes, if you also have a GoPro, you can attach your GoPro to your camera. Yeah, so yeah, just mix it up. You can do whatever you want, but let's do it. And so for me, that was everything that I got for you today. If you have any questions, just let me know. Thanks for your attention. Here on my left side, I have my social media. This is my Instagram if you want to follow me. If you want to also share information, if you have any question, if you want to, whatever you need, whatever you want, just email me as well. And these are my upcoming photo expedition trips for the next year. Thank you so much.
That was so great, Eric. Thank you so much for that deep dive in photographing this phenomenal wildlife migration thing. Like, that was amazing. I wish I was there with you and all the guides that you listed on like an upcoming expedition, in January and February. Awesome, everybody. We have some time for some Q&A with Eric until about around probably about like 7 or 8 minutes of Q&A. So in that your control panel, there's a little questions box. Go ahead and put that in there, and we will see how many we can get through. Oh, great. Okay, so for those photos that you showed us, or when you are on an expedition, do you primarily use your big telephoto lens, or do you go back and forth quite a lot, or what would you say is the ratio of the amount of time you're using both of your lenses?
That's a very good question. So my right answer would be I normally use my telephoto most of the time, but now I'm switching with the other lens that I have because I can get many things also with a wide lens, wide angle lens. You can get so much in focus, and you can have access to a broad perspective. Especially, for example, if you want to compose a really good picture, you might miss a lot of elements if you use only your telephoto. If you have a lens like this, like like I don't know, 24 millimeters or 35 millimeters or 50 millimeters, you can have a better perspective, a better elements to compose a nice picture. So I'm switching more often. Before I was just using my telephoto because I said, yeah, size matters. Of course, that size matters in photography and in other stuff. But here, I love it to go back and forth, back and forth. Yeah.
Fantastic. If so, someone is asking if you break down one of your photos. So that beautiful image that you showed that you called like the three sisters, but one of them was the male. But that beautiful photo that you had, how did you get all three in focus? Could you discuss your process a little bit more and how you took that photo?
Yes, of course. So I normally I use the option of wide focus when I shoot this picture. Depending of my objects, I like to switch between wide, narrow, center. This one was wide, and this allowed me to get everything on focus. Yeah.
Fantastic. And if somebody either has a Sony or a Canon, what exactly would the settings be to get that? Could you like talk us through that?
Yeah, yeah, I need to remember this in Canon, but I guess also in Canon is the wide option. In Sony is the wide option. Yeah. But also, for example, in this case, you could have I could have easily focused the three little sisters, except with the male, with a setter, yeah, without any problem. Yeah.
Okay, great. And somebody who is asking a Sony specific question. Do
Yeah.
you like the DMF focus?
Yes, but I don't use it very often. Yeah. Yeah, I don't use it very often. I prefer to shoot in autofocus continuous most of the time. Yeah, especially because my optics are moving constantly. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks for that. Next here, do you know of any cameras that have silent shutters?
Silent shutters. Yes, actually, most of the cameras they have this option, and you can. I like to all these kind of questions that I don't know the answer. I just go to YouTube and go to tutorial of the cameras that have this option, and you can get tons of information of how you can change the settings and how you can which cameras do they have this option. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, I switched from a Rebel myself to a mirrorless Canon, and the noise of the shutter dramatically decreased. It's amazing because
Yeah.
mirrorless doesn't have one. So
Yeah.
my camera is so quiet in comparison to my old DSLR.
Yes, and also you can shoot faster with the mirrorless, and it's yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing. Brrr, you know, you can go so fast.
Yeah, yeah. Especially with this big Nikon cameras. Wow, it's just crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Okay, great. Somebody's asking now that Red Bird of Paradise, to clarify, did you take that first photo that was your expectation or
No,
not?
of course not. I did not take that picture. Yeah. It was just a moment of big frustration, and afterwards, actually, because that was so that was one of the birds that we wanted to see, and then we moved to another location to see that's the name of the Wilson's Bird of Paradise. Yes, and the guide said it would only appear here in just in a few moments. So prepare your camera. And when we arrived there, the bird was already there, and I, again, was trying to get the best settings for the picture. And I did not show this picture here, but it's super terrible. And then the bird flew, and we had to wait 2 more hours because it started to rain. And this is something that happens very often, and sometimes it's just better to use auto. Yeah, if you're not really familiar with your camera. Yeah.
Yeah, and I will throw this out here too for anybody who missed it. Laura gave a fantastic like backyard photography for like tutorial on how to practices these really important skills before going into the field so that, hopefully we don't have those soul-crushing moments in the field
Yeah.
when we miss this unbelievable opportunity because we already practiced in our backyard. So anybody, you can look in the archives and see that one with Laura. It's a really, really great webinar. Okay, fantastic. The last one we'll take today. What professional level or photography level do you think people should think about when they are looking into the photo journeys versus our nature journeys to like join, let's say, the Monarch photo expedition versus just a Monarch expedition? What do you think people should think about when they're looking at the two different trips?
Yeah, that's a great question because in one of our trips, we had only 9 guests, and only one of our guests, he actually brought a professional camera. The other ones, they said, no, we just sign up for this trip and we have our cameras. To be honest, I think that anyone who has good knowledge of how manual, like shooting with the manual works, can take part of these trips. Yeah, and because might be a little bit frustrating if you don't have any previous experience shooting, and then you come to this trip because of course the guides, we're always going to be there for you. We're going to spend as many hours as possible showing you the best settings, showing you like everything that your camera can do. But I think everyone who has like pretty much knowledge of how to shoot with manual, like that's the minimum requirement, should be take part of these trips. Of course, as for example, in regular trips, if I'm going as an expedition leader, of course, and also I help people to work with their cameras. If they sign up for this regular trip and they said, Eric, I like photography, I like to, if you can show me different settings, different skills, I'll do it as well. I do this very often, and sometimes my regular trips uh, tend to be a little bit photography trips as well. Only if my guests want this, of course.
Fantastic. And somebody just asked what that webinar was that I just referred to. So it's called World Travelers Boost Your Photo Skills in Your Own Backyard. And we released that on May 27th. So if you go to the archives on the website, which is just under webinars, under traveler resources, and the photography bucket, it is right there. And I will also give a little sneak peek since I manage this show and you all are here on Friday. Eric next month is doing a great shark for Shark Awareness Day. You're going to be coming back to do a webinar about sharks. And then you brought up Fernando and Court, and they're both doing amazing photography webinars coming up. So since you're all here with me today, you guys get the sneak peek on what's coming up. So,
Yeah,
oh, great.
that's
Well,
okay.
awesome, Eric. We are coming to the top of the hour, so I will turn it to you for any last closing comments.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say that the photography world is fantastic, and you never stop learning, and there's no shame to ask everything what you want to know. And I remember I was listening to a podcast, and the guy said there's no better equipment that is like your equipment is good if it's used. If you don't use it, it's not a good equipment. So yeah, I'm just gonna finish this with this, um, what the guy said. Yeah.
That's really good advice. Yeah, the camera you have on is the best one that you have in the moment, right? Yes, any camera is better than no camera. Well,
Exactly. Yeah.
awesome, Eric. Thank you so much for taking the time to present to us today. And I would like to thank everybody who tuned in. Join us Monday for our next daily dose of nature. You can check out next week's lineup, including registration links on our website at nethab.com/webinars. And keep an eye out for our Sunday e-news announcement. We did record today's presentation, and we will have the replay available on our website soon. Also, if you're part of a photo club and would like a Nat Hab photo guide to speak to your members about nature and travel photography, please email us at webinars@nathab.com. And with that, I will conclude the webinar. Goodbye, everybody.